Hey kids, it's me again. Robin Graves with The World According to Graves. Um, Before I get started, I kind of got yelled at by Mike for not doing this as like I'm supposed to. Uh, the movie thing. Alien Covenant, yeah. Ridley Scott, plot holes, plot armor, questions not really answered. More questions. I'm hoping he fills everything in on the next one. Supposed to be doing six more, from what I understand. I'm not for sure. Put this over here by the cat. Um, Hold on, little drink here. Coke, orange shit. I'm not for sure. Yeah, get that the fuck out of my way. Guys, there are times when I sit here and plan for a week to do uh, a video on a subject, and then while doing research, last minute research to make sure I have everything, all of my T's dotted, my I's crossed. Yeah, I mean my '80s hair. I come across something else today. Um, I was on Gab checking messages. By the way, um, Gab and Minds, great alternatives to fascist book. Um, I went there to spread the disease. Get my notes and everything. I come across something from a guy named. I want to get his name here right first. Mark Berg, I believe, is his name. A post he made that gave me a very good idea, and due to his post and him providing information in his post, some information, I had to cross-reference some of it. He did get one thing wrong, but only a few points. We'll get to that pretty soon. Um, I'll try to make this a decently long one if I can. If not, I'm sorry, guys. My life is pretty hectic right now. As you all know, I raise and breed exotic reptiles, and this is breeding season. I have eggs I've got to check on. I've got some that are due to hatch any minute, and these are going to be amazing ones. I'll post pictures on social media for you guys. Um, if you put together everything the left is doing to stop opposing views, put it all together, it gets pretty frightening. One of the key tactics of, playing games like chess is, to look at the entire board before you make a move. Before you make that move, you have to have a sense of your opponent's possibilities and situations before you make that said move. Remember this, okay? If you ever, look up from the noise in Washington and the media, and I've spoken to you how the media works before. Right now, they're the puppets of the left. The left is actually paying them for their pieces to be put on the news shows and for them to promote what the left wants. They do this with a lot of special interest groups. And the left right now is spending a lot of money doing this to make them look like they're more popular than what they are, that their policies are more popular. But forgive me for a tangent. When you're playing chess and you look at everything, you got to look at the emerging playing field and everything. Right now, the emerging playing field is one of the greatest threats to free society in at least my lifetime. Let's get this off of here. There. And I don't know why that's on. Margaret Thatcher said once, first you have to win an argument, then you win the vote. Now that goes into something very interesting, because right now, if you argue with a leftist, a liberal, most Democrats, and I'm not trashing all Democrats because some are very nice people, very good people, they're just a little misinformed, much like some on the right. That's why I don't believe in partisan politics. I don't believe in political parties, because there's a lot of people on both sides that only listen to their side. They don't look at the big picture. They don't look at both things. I look at both sides. I read between the lines, and I'm so disappointed in the left right now. They get this idea that if they start an argument, how many of you out there? Let's do this. How many of you out there have actually sat there and listened to the crap that some of these people are spouting, and you try to tell them, no, that's wrong, and they decide they can yell louder than you, so they're righter than you. That's your typical leftists right there. That's the typical ones on the left, the extremists. I know some very good people they're Democrats. They're the old school Democrats. They don't see what their party's doing. They can't because so many generations of them have been Democrat, just like so many generations have been Republican. The Democrats right now are losing. They're falling apart, and everything they're doing right now is out of desperation to make the right look bad. And in doing so, they're making themselves look bad. Like I said, Margaret Thatcher said, first you have to win the argument, then you can win the vote. You can't argue with these people. They don't want to listen. They don't want to listen to facts. They're all opinion driven, uneducated opinion. They believe the rhetoric. They believe everything's being tossed to them by Ocasio-Cortez, or as I call her, Senorita Donkey Chompers. They believe everything's thrown at them by Nancy Pelosi. They believed everything that Obama said. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm not a big fan of Trump as a person. I doubt we'd ever get along. But as a president, he's done what I wanted to be done. He's improved our economy. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. The new trend for the Dems is to go so far right they leave everybody behind. So far, everybody, they've gone from being the polar opposite, being, instead of accountability, blaming everybody's a victim, to being socialist, to being so damn communist, it's not funny. You don't believe me? Look at them. Every time you try to talk to one, they shout you down, they get personal, they call you a Nazi, which to me, honestly, calling somebody a Nazi is the same thing as calling a black man a nigger. They are the origin of the feces, according to these people. Call you a Nazi, and it's almost a race thing for these people. They want to sit here and tell you how you're wrong, how you've made a mistake. Trump's orange man is bad. Yeah. All because the left tells them to say so. They have the same arguing points. Every one of them do. I guess they get a daily email with with little things they're supposed to say that day. It's ridiculous. You can't talk sense to these people. They want to sit here and talk about what CNN said. Oh, it's all over the news, so it's true, even though CNN has been proven to not be fair and balanced. I'm not a big fan of Fox News either anymore. Come to think of it, I'm not a big fan of any media conglomerate. They've got their own things that they're doing, their own agenda, their own views about everything. They're bought and paid for, excuse me, by special interests, i.e., political parties. CNN and MSNBC, NBC, CBS, ABC, they're all bought and paid for by the Democrat Party. Like I said, they're spending a lot of money paying these media companies to shove shit in your face. It's not hard to tell what they're being paid to tell you and what they're volunteering to tell you. Consider the fact that there is no. Honestly, I know a few reporters. I know how they work. They're not out here to be fair and objectionable and tell you what's happening. They have this idea that their job is to make change. No, their job's not to make change. I mean, the left has gone so far left. They've left everybody behind. I mean, think about the recent radical positions and the percentage of, people that believe this shit. Let's talk about percentages for a moment. This is going to be relatively short today, I do believe. I've got things coming up today that I can't get out of, and everything. I've got to get ready for an appearance tomorrow, and that's going to be scary. But I don't do public appearances well. I'm kind of agoraphobic. I spend most of my time here at home. I have social anxiety issues. You're lucky I'm talking to you online. Honestly, my hair is so 80s today. God. It's going to rain tonight. I can feel it already. But I want you to think about the recent radical positions and the true percentages of people that are for these positions. Okay, I got these from Mark Berg. I cross-referenced a lot of them. He got a couple of them actually he got one wrong. He was a few points off. We'll get to that in a moment. But pretty much everything he said here was dead on accurate. Which he got this from an article. I forget where the article he got it on. But if you go on Gab and you look for him, you'll find his post. And I hope he sees this video. I want to thank him for this idea. What I was going to do today, I'm doing next week. It's actually a little more controversial than this and stuff. This is I'm no longer on Facebook very often anymore. They don't like me. I was one of the people they purged because I tell the truth. In fact, I was some woman on there referred to me as the rock star of truth. I even have Democrats who are fans of mine on there, and I hope to see them again. I refuse to get another account there because, well, it makes it look like it's a new account, and they actually get it actually benefits them. Right now, we're going to get into Mark Zuckerberg later on, sometime, about what's happening now. There's some things happening. But I want you to think about these percentages for a minute. The killing of babies after they are born. This law was adopted by New York and Virginia. The people that are for this, only 13% of people are for this, and the Democrats rammed it down everybody's throat. And they want to make it sound like everybody's all for it. They'll put up these select few people with bullshit arguments and don't even know what the hell is going on. They've never read the law. They've never read a law. The only thing they give is their opinion, and the left pushes it as a fact. Now, I'm going to let you know, people have accused me of giving just my opinion. Yes, I do give my opinion. An educated opinion for once. I research everything I do. I've cross-referenced a lot of this, and he was almost dead on balls accurate. Only 13% of America supports abortions in the third trimester. Okay, think about it. Only 13%. 13%. That's just over 1/10. And these are people who live in California, New York, Chicago. Yeah, those shit places. Allowing inmates to vote from jail. Only 19% of people are for that. Only 19% of Americans are for that. Now, where do they get this idea that the vast majority are all for this? Where does that come from? What is the vast majority to the Democrat Party? What is the vast majority? Evidently, a vast majority is if they approve, is if the lawmaker approves of something and wants it themselves. Then a vast majority of people want it. Fuck you, you don't matter, people. It's what they want. That's pretty much every politician. That's why I like Trump. He's not a politician. Democrats dropping the economy and what Trump has done for it, they consider it a hollow issue. That's gone. We don't have to worry about that. They can't argue with what's happening. They can't fool anybody with any bullshit. You know, when he first did the tax cuts, they're saying, oh, that's only benefiting his rich friends. Well, his rich friends hired a bunch of you guys, didn't he? Didn't they? And you're getting paid quite well. In fact, my son is living in Heavener, Oklahoma, a place that is so economically dead. It should have had a tombstone erected instead of a town. He's now making $10 an hour at a job that used to pay minimum wage. If they couldn't get away with paying less. Okay. Now, tell me something. How many of you out there actually got raises? Quite a few. If you didn't, you need to talk to your employer. They're fucking you over. How many places have actually employed people? Well, let me explain something here. And this is, you can verify this. This is very easily verifiable. Uh, I didn't make notes on this because this is spur of the moment. There are 1.5 million jobs out there that nobody's filling because the economy is so good. There are more jobs than there are people looking for work right now. True. Cat. See? Right there. She's an asshole. Let's go on with this, with this right here. Border security is a growing issue at the moment. Open borders is a... God. The Democrat Party is... This is a major detriment to them. Major detriment to them. They're telling you that a majority of people want open borders, that it's a nothing issue, that it's not a humanitarian issue. It's not this. Then they'll turn around and say it's a humanitarian issue because they want to make Trump look bad. I wish they could get off the seesaw on this and actually say something positive for once. I'm going to tell you right now. Open borders are a 16% issue. Only 16% of Americans want open borders. 83% of Americans are favoring a more secure border. The reason Democrats want an open border, and there she is again. She's being an asshole, being in the picture. The reason Democrats want this open borders, and the reason some Democrat lawmakers are ignoring it altogether, is because they have donors that use illegal aliens for very cheap labor. Plus, the Democrats are considering a new voting bloc. They're considering these people. They'll sit there and praise these people, just so that they can get votes from them. I hear recently, remember when Trump said, "Fine, we'll open the borders. We'll bring them all in, give them all amnesty. We'll put them in sanctuary cities." And Nancy Pelosi threw a screaming shit fit. People who mayors of sanctuary cities threw a fit because they don't want them. Why don't you? You created a sanctuary city for them. Evidently, you do. So, which is it? Do you want open borders, or do you want or not? Well, gee, you're kind of starting a sanctuary city, declaring your cities sanctuary cities, but you don't want them? You can't have two things at one time. It's either or. Quit being dicks. Let me change the page here. Wow. There was a guy, about 3-4 years ago, before Trump was elected, was all for Bernie Sanders because Bernie Sanders was a socialist. The guy's name was Kirk Poss. We've since then separated ways. I pretty much let him know how I felt about him, and he did some personal things he shouldn't have done to my wife and I. And he's pretty much really a lot of enemies of people. He made the comment, "Capitalism doesn't work, so maybe we should try socialism." When I asked him about capitalism, how it doesn't work, why doesn't it work? He came with all these things about how he can't make any money, he can't do this, he can't do that. This guy was a high school dropout, dropped out in 10th grade. Socialism does not work. 10% of Americans have a positive view of socialism, according to a Monmouth poll. 10% of Americans, and they want, and the media and the Democrat Party wants you to think that a vast majority wants socialism. No, we don't. This is easy to cross-check. You can find this out yourself. The main people who want socialism are the freaks of nature. You've seen them, the fat women claiming that they're feminists with the weird cut hair in weird colors, talking about rape culture and how they're afraid to be raped. By what? By what? God. Only 20% of Americans are for further reparations for slavery. Only 7% are Caucasian. That should tell you something. That should tell you something. I can sit here and make this stuff up if I want to. But this has all been cross-referenced. Uh, I went online. I've looked at this. In fact, I was going from 7 o'clock this morning till 1 this afternoon, doing all of this. The only reason I stopped is my eyes were bugging out. And I had to film an episode of Mondo Destructo TV. I could go on. There was a lot more. I figured this would be enough to give you an idea. The left is telling you the vast majority is all for them. The vast majority, well, actually millennials. About 46% of millennials. But we all know what they are. So, it's gotten to the point, in this country, the only thing that's going to save us is a civil war. And that's still not going to save us because it's not going to be one side against the other. It's going to be several sides against several others. We are at the point right now in this country where, well, we're one vote away from the end. Seriously. I'm not telling you vote for Trump, but I'm definitely telling you don't vote for one of these socialists. Everyone has this idea that socialism is a wonderful thing. That everybody wins under socialism. Evidently, you haven't looked at Venezuela, have you? There are no pets in Venezuela anymore because people had to eat them. There are, right now, in the European Union, it's pretty socialist right now. Look what's happening in France. Let's take a look there. Let's take a look at Angela Merkel, Lady Hitler, in my opinion. Let's see how much approval she has. We could let every immigrant here into this country. We would be over with. We are right now being overridden. Where do you think these people... They're saying that well, these people are very hard workers. They work very hard. Maybe. I know I had my roof put on by a bunch of illegals. Yeah, they worked really hard. But I've also seen where illegals have 2 or 3 identifications and get welfare on all of them and work on one of them. I've seen that happen. Don't tell me I'm a liar. Happened in Heaven, Oklahoma at OK Food. A bunch of Mexicans who worked at OK Foods. And, in fact, the state of Oklahoma got into some trouble because their training films for the welfare workers who work at the welfare offices. One of the training films, the guy was on there actually said, well, if you come across an illegal alien, well, it's not our job to turn them in. Go ahead and give it to them. With that kind of fucked up attitude, it's no wonder our country's going broke. No wonder our welfare system is shot to pieces. I do believe at one point welfare was a very well thought out, good idea. Until politicians started putting their thumbs into it and creating loopholes just for their own voters. Politicians right now will promise you the world. They will make it look like you're doing so well just to get a vote from you. In the 1800s and early 1900s, politicians used to stand outside of voting places and pay people $5 to vote for them. And it was legal at the time. Really. So, look guys, I got to cut it off. I've got too much going on. I've got a lot happening. In fact, I got a phone call coming in very soon from a prospective client. I got a pet shop that's looking to pay me pretty well for about 3 of the morphs that I've got. I got some very expensive ones this time along. Anyway, you guys take care of yourselves. This has been The World According to Graves. I've been your host, Robin Graves. I want you guys to think for yourselves. Quit letting people think for you. Sit down and think. Who is benefiting the most in your decisions? You or someone else? Take care of yourselves. I'll talk to you next week.